Okay, now I'm ready to begin to give some attention to the edges here. I'm going to bevel this hard edge, and then I'm gonna probably give it a sand before I move on to slicking. The sand will help take off some of that glitter, any acrylic that's maybe plugging it up and may cause problems with slicking. So let me get, um, is this too small? No, I like it. This is my favorite one. It's so small. I don't really care for a rounded edge. I don't want it to be like a circle. I know a lot of people go for that and it looks nice, but for me, I really like the kind of rounded rectangle type edge to where it flattens out and it's got a little bit of meat there that you can kind of feel. Um, Admittedly, I'm going to be covering this with a binding. So I'm going to keep the I'm gonna keep that a very light rounding. It's gonna be interesting to see what the binding does to it. I think you'll be able to notice that it was rounded. I don't know if it'll be significant. It'll depend on the binding, which I'm gonna keep very, very thin. I think I'm gonna aim for 1/2 millimeter on the binding, but we'll get to that later. So first I'm going to just take off this edge. Your goal with this tool should be to not do that. Take as much as you can off in a single cut as possible so that you don't have to join cuts together. If you do have to join, you can just kind of back up a little bit and pick it up where you left off, but you don't want to do that if you can help it. That's obviously a skill I'm still working on, but that should be your goal. Your goal should be, even around the corners and the bends, you want to take off, you want to have as little restarting as possible. That'll give you the cleanest edges. I think I need to strop this. Nice job. Okay, now the front. And this cuts totally differently because of the acrylic. It really makes it feel like you're cutting through, I don't know, like a glue. Actually, it's like cutting glue, and it will probably need stropping a lot more too. Now I'm going to sand up these edges. This feels, well, it feels really nice. It feels so nice. Okay, I'm going to sand this up. Quit patting myself on the back for a minute here. I'm going to use 80 grit. That's really coarse for this kind of work, but again, I want to take off all the acrylic and all the glitter that's accumulated on these edges. But because 80 grit is really coarse, I mean, usually I work at 400. I'm going to keep it minimal and keep checking myself constantly. I think there's an argument for having done this before I beveled. Perhaps I should have. What do you think? I think I should have, because now there's a chance I could sand my bevel right down and that nice rounded edge may need to be done again, right? That would be annoying because I just did all that work. Tell me what you think. Yeah, okay, it's really coarse. I'm gonna have to do that again, but it's taking off the. Now I'm not looking to remove all of the stain, all the coloring. That's just too much. It's not worth the effort. I'm just looking to make sure that this is going to be receptive to moisture so that I can slick it. If it's not going to receive the moisture, because the acrylic, you know, it's like plastic, right? So it's going to repel moisture to some degree. And that's going to make it very difficult to work with these edges. So that's all I'm really looking to do, is create pores. That'll be good. Now I need to go up. I think I'm gonna go to 120, just very quickly with the 120. And then I'll go up to 200. Now I'm on the 220. I want to get to 400, but I don't know if I have any 400. I may have to just deal with 220. Okay, I have some 400 wet dry. Maybe I could do a whole video on edge finishing. Maybe I could do a whole series on edge finishing. You know, you ask 100 different leather workers how to finish their edges, you get 100 different answers, and not a one of them right. Or maybe they're all right, really. That's more of a nicer way to say that, I guess. My point, though, being that as you do it yourself, you'll develop your own style, and you'll decide that all the others are wrong. This is the way you're going to do it, and it'll work for you, and it'll be fine. All right. I think that's good, but I also think that I need to probably go over these edges again, just to take out any flat areas that I may have created. Ready to do some work on the edges. Where's my sticker? There it is. I'll be using the second groove here. Fits nicely. I usually just use my finger. This is nice having a sponge handy. You don't want to be too sloppy with the water. If it gets in this way, it kind of causes the leather to want to compress. Kind of like tooling it, really, I guess. More like if you're tooling leather and you've got it too wet for tooling and it kind of gets spongy and wants to just cave in on itself. That's what the edges do. Now I almost always will put black edge paint, or edge paint in general, but almost always black on my edges. In this case I'm not going to, because it's going to be completely covered. It's not going to matter at all. I'm going to beeswax it just to keep those fibers down, because if you just use water they'll lift up and it won't last. So I'll go straight to beeswax once I get this looking decent. I actually don't need it to be, you know, like a mirror polish or anything. It doesn't need to be that clean, because again, not going to be seen. At least if I have my way. If I mess it up, then, well, we'll see what happens then. So I'm just looking to smooth it. You won't see it, but you may feel it. It's going to be thin leather covering it up, very thin. So the texture may come through. I want it to be smooth. But I don't need it to be like a glass, because even though that texture may come through, it's still going to be covered by more leather. So that's going to help smooth it out as well. Quite stubborn edge. Giving me trouble. Much better. This is a losing battle, because as that water evaporates, the fibers that have been bedded down are going to begin to lift up. So I guess that's good enough. I'm going to go straight to wax now before they can lift up. That way I've still got most of that smooth edge, and the wax will help it smooth out and stay that way. It'll glue it down, kind of. And back to edging. It's a very, very nice edge. Kind of pretty too, actually, even though it's kind of brown from all the grime on my edge slicker. Still looks nice. The grime is mostly edge paint and wax, so it just adds to the effect usually, because I'm usually painting in black. You know, I don't think if it's been on my list of things to try, I don't think I've ever tried any color for edge paint except black. I know there are some neat ones out there. I always think about trying them out, but black just works for so many things. On black, it provides a nice edge. On everything else, it just contrasts nicely. I mean, even this would look cool with a black border. In fact, the leather binding is going to be black. Hey, very creative, right? You know, actually, it's a good question. The straps will be brown. Should the border be brown or black to match the straps? But I do like the idea of a black border. And the nickel rivets are going to look really cool. If I did brown, I'd almost want to go to all brass hardware if I did brown. So then should the straps be black? Questions for later. I'm not answering them right now. The edge is getting lighter because my grime is wearing off. It's looking more of a brown now. I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, nice. Nice. Looks great. Feels great. It's not to love. How about these black streaks everywhere? Those are not to love. It's just the wax. Oh, I'm rubbing paint off. Ooh, shoot. Oh well. That'll be okay because it will be covered. But I definitely got a little too eager there. Let me sand that down and redo it. Really don't need to press as hard as I just did. Really can just be a light and should be a light buff like this. That's it. That's all you really need. Anything else, if it's not coming off with that, there's something else wrong. Should have known. It'll be covered up, so that'll be acceptable. But I should have known better. Guess I got excited. Okay, that's the edges done. Ignore that little bit there. Otherwise, it's not too bad. I did manage to put a line in there. I should have put a cloth or something down when I was putting it face down. Little things that add up. Very frustrating. Real moment of truth. Can I flex this without anything cracking? Well, look at that. Not bad. Because I need it to, obviously, it needs to wrap around my arm. And I'm going to need to do that sooner rather than late, because everything I do on the back side is going to be of a smaller diameter because of the thickness of this leather. So if I were to just, say, glue on a lining, for example, when I bend it back, that lining is going to try to wrinkle up. So if I bend it a little bit and then map out the lining, glue it on or whatever, then it'll be much less likely to give me any trouble later on. So I need this to bend, and I'm looking for any cracking or breaking in the paint. A, because that'll give me a hint as to whether this is going to last, and B, because if it does get damaged, this is my chance to fix it. I haven't put a top coat on this yet, so this is my chance to make sure that this is going to hold. And I think it's going to hold. I mean, it's really behaving nicely so far. That's going to be cool. Yeah, that's plenty flexible. It's not cracking at all. I don't see any damage, or I don't even see any stress. Looks good. That's exciting. Next, I'm going to work on the edge binding. I'm going to do some experimenting. I think that typically I would put the lining on and then wrap the edge around that and grab the lining. But I'm avoiding any stitches that might show. I don't want any stitches showing. If I can help it. There may be some that just have to be kind of obscure. But if I can help it, I don't want not a single stitch showing on the outside. So I have an idea for the edge binding. And if it works, great, but I'd have to do it first. So I'm going to do that. Now, I'm not likely to record the edge binding work because it relies on knowledge that isn't mine, basically. And the person I've got it from isn't keen to make that knowledge public. So out of respect for that person, I will not record the edge binding. If you can find it elsewhere, go for it.